hmm I was just looking at this John Ashcroft. Right. He was in George W. Bush's administration. Yeah. First President George W. Bush's first administration serving in the cabinet. Now, on September 11th of 2001, yeah, when the United States suffered the worst terrorist attack in its history, yeah, he helped coordinate a massive investigation to find those responsible for the attack. Yeah. I remember that because we were living in Squim, thank you, Heidi. And I actually had woke my wife up. I was watching it on CNN, and supposedly there was a 2 minute change in the actual dynamic of the nation. It's almost like I was woken up that morning where I would have been sleeping. Yes. But when we lived in Airway Heights, I was at the UPS store where I had my post office box. Yeah. And I had met a guy that I thought that somebody from the Air Force wanted me to talk to. Could you call Fairchild Air Force Base in Airway Heights? Yes. Well, I'm there and I'm kind of looking at him and I'm asking him, is there something you want to tell me? Because every once in a while, somebody would cross my path that looked like some sort of homeless vagrant that wanted me to know something. Well, I went to these various websites where they had basketball-shaped nuclear devices. Yes. And I thought, I didn't know they could make a nuclear bomb that size. Oh. And then you start to think about the family and how some of them have the availability of doing things where you can't see what they're doing because of their ability to time shift. Yes. Now, if you could make a satellite that allowed for time shifting and you were to put it above the World Trade Center, you could actually install nuclear devices in the Twin Towers without anybody seeing you. Whew. Now, could you call John Ashcroft? I think he was an attorney general or he was in the Central Intelligence Agency. His number was 0. Yep, you don't know. Now, Robert Mueller was assigned to be the director of the FBI 1 week before 2000, September 11th of 2001 took place. Yep. And I was concerned that he was specifically employed to run the FBI in what he did or did not know was going to take place. Could you call Robert Mueller and ask him if he did know about September 11th of 2001 before it happened? I had a question on Guam because when I was on Guam, it seemed that the Navy was concerned about what was happening in the United States. I remember once I was riding with a guy named Cliff, and we were moving our items from his house to the Guma San Jose. Yes. And we'd stayed there about a week, and his wife was in the Navy. And somebody had asked the back of my brain, do you know what's happening in the United States? And then I had said, no, I live on Guam. Pooh. Well, Cliff pulled over the van and opened the door so the dome light was on. Now, it's always a big question. What are you hearing in your brain? I know my own thoughts. Yes. But there's always a big question because when you go to investigate a terrorist attack like that, and you ask yourself about these various technologies that the family thinks is important, like the spring of everlasting life, and then you see some things take place where you're like, well, you were there and then you weren't. Hooch. You know how those in the family like to really live the lie and mess with people's minds about, well, am I married to this individual or am I married to their twin or their triplet? You know, I'm sure that some law enforcement. So why don't you call the former director of the FBI and ask him what he did know about September 11th of 2001, and then call John Ashcroft and find out what he does know about Paul Budnick's family. Now, I'm one of these American citizens that for every employee of the federal government that knows about the family and had to be in the super top secret, come to find out family truth. It, well, what do you know? Give me every nuclear device in the world. You know when you can time shift. Leprechauns think it's kind of funny. I'll be sitting here and they'll pickpocket me and they'll take the tobacco out of my. What do you know?